Hi, everybody. Welcome to our homestead and welcome to our channel.
Hi.
Today, we are going to be discussing first fruits, otherwise known as Bikkurim. So I have my wife here, Jenica. I am Jared. And happy Easter to
Happy
everybody.
Easter.
Now, like we've talked about on the channel, Easter is actually the observance of first fruits, but from the Christian perspective, realizing that Christ came to fulfill first fruits when he was resurrected. First fruits is always on a Sunday. It happens on the first Sunday after the first Sabbath during Passover week. So, whenever you have the first Sabbath during the Passover week on Sunday, that's when first fruits is. So, it could be toward the end of the week, it could be toward the beginning, the middle. It just depends on what day Passover starts during that week. So, if you are able to put in the chat where you're from and let us know if you had a good Easter. We did. Thankfully, thankfully, we didn't have to do it outside like we did last year.
Oh, man. Well, one of the good things was the girls late at night agreed to have it inside, and we were really thankful because we did not want to go out in the morning at 7 a.m. and put eggs outside when we were going to bed so late. So, and we cheated. We had them help us fill the Easter eggs with us because we were so lazy, didn't want to spend all night doing it. So,
but it's because they're getting older. They're not young.
We didn't have the 5-year-old do it.
We have a teenager, and then we have one that's preteen. So and they were happy to do it. So all right, we got Josh Dobek from Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome. I think you're the first person from North Carolina that I've seen on the channel that has said that they're from North Carolina. And then we got Crochet Mama from Southeast Missouri. She's regular. She says, having a great Easter. Very good.
You like to crochet? I knit. I'm not very good at it, but I knit. It's fun. It keeps me busy.
She's a neighbor. She's just the next state over.
I'd love to go to Missouri. We thought, I'm sure Jared said, but we thought about living there. So yeah.
She says, once they were teenagers, I made them hide the eggs.
We tried to do that.
I tried to get them to do that.
I was against it because our daughter is really traditional and she was getting mad at Dad. But
yeah. I thought it would be fun. I was like, okay, you hide her eggs, and then you hide her eggs, and then like it's a competition. Like see who can hide eggs the best. I thought that they would, like that, but no. And then Crochet Mama says, yes, I knit some, not good, but not good at it.
Yeah. I don't know how to crochet. I would love to. My mother-in-law crochets and she makes the most beautiful things. She makes stuffed animals for the kids, and I don't know if I have the patience to learn that kind of skill, but she's been doing it for years. And yeah, I'm not good at knitting. I just basically know the basic stitch and I make scarves because that's all I know how to do.
So right now we're just kind of shooting the breeze a little bit while some more people get in here. I don't know how many people will join. I almost didn't do this tonight because it's already so late. Here in the Central Time Zone, we are at 9:40 p.m. So in Utah, in the Mountain Time Zone, they're 8:40, Pacific 7:40. So I'm thinking maybe some people will join. I don't know. This probably won't go too long. What I wanted to do was just kind of read through an article from Chabad.org talking about first fruits, because today is first fruits. And I think maybe every year I'd like to do this, like whenever there's a Jewish feast day, just do a live stream, do live streams on Jewish feast days, do it for general conference, and then just every now and then, just for the fun of it, just because it's fun. Teresa Washington, hello. Hey, what's up, y'all? Now, Teresa, her and her husband are in Arkansas. They moved from, I can't remember where you guys moved from, but I know it was from out west. You basically did the same thing that we did. We got Tim Washington. Glad to see you live streaming. Thank you. Glad that you're here. Robin Mulcahy from Sandy, Utah. Jenica used to live in Sandy. I
used to live there for a few years until I was 8 years old and then moved to Arizona, but I loved Sandy.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so Teresa, they moved from Provo, Utah. All right.
And I lived in Provo for a little bit too. Went to high school there for a couple years.
I thought it was Orem.
Or Provo, that's right. Provo for a few months, and then we moved to Orem.
Yeah. Okay. We got Ann Driggers from Denver. All right, that's also the next state over, but the other way. Very good. Welcome. Okay. So, anybody been watching the news with what's going on with Israel? I did a video earlier today. There's been a further development since I did that video. So, I actually have the thing pulled up. It says Ra'am freezes coalition, Knesset membership in Temple Mount protest. So again, just in case you're new to this whole thing, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in power for 12 years, and they finally wanted to get rid of him. So there was a kind of a loose coalition of different parties that came together in order to oust Benjamin Netanyahu. And that's how we got Naftali Bennett. Well, within the last week or two, we had one person pull out completely from the coalition. Her first name is Idit. She's like a far right person, and she wasn't happy about something that was going to happen right now during Passover in hospitals that had to do with unleavened bread. They were going to allow leavened bread in hospitals, but she observes the Jewish faith very closely, and so she was upset about that, so she pulled out. Now, on Friday, which was the first day of Passover, at least at sundown on Friday, there was a big clash at the Temple Mount. You have the Dome of the Rock, right? But that's not actually the main site, even though it's like the most visible because it has like a gold dome. The main place for Muslims is called Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it's like off to the side. And according to what I read, Palestinian youth started throwing rocks and stuff at police. And so that sparked all these arrests, including inside the mosque itself. That obviously upset the entire Arab world. And now this Ra'am party that's part of Naftali Bennett's coalition, when I made the video, they were still part of it, but it looks like they've put it on freeze. Now, this could just be symbolic based on what I've read, because Parliament is not in session right now, so it's kind of like a slap on the wrist. In fact, it says here the move has no immediate practice implications, given that the Knesset is on break until May. But it is one more symbolic blow to Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's coalition, which earlier this month lost its slim parliamentary majority, falling from 61 to 60 Knesset seats. I can't remember the article I was looking at earlier, but they were saying that this could encourage more people to withdraw from the coalition. If that's the case, then things could go crazy politically. The government could be dissolved. There could be a vote of no confidence. And like I was speculating, I don't think that this will necessarily happen. But if there is a person out there that believes that he's the Jewish Messiah, the one that was talking to Rabbi Kanievsky, well, what if he just steps in? He's like, oh, it's okay. I'm here. I am the king now. Things could get really wild really fast. So, okay, we got Diana Tallman Fiber fan. I'm in Sanpete County, Utah. Grew up in Cali. Welcome. Cecilia Hitch. Hello from Montrose, Iowa. Ooh, you might be the first person. No, I think I've heard from somebody else from Iowa. I'm not sure, but welcome. Iowa's close by. Yeah, I was just talking about it on one of the other live streams. I have a lot of in my genealogy, because on my dad's side, it's all pioneer stock, and a lot of them were in Iowa before they crossed the plains. So, and it was one of the places that we were considering moving to when we were looking at the Midwest. Okay, so we got 21 people here now. If you haven't already, put in the comments where you're from. I like to see where everyone's from, or if there's anything you want to add to the conversation. Right now, we're talking about kind of like the things that are going on in Israel right now. We're in Passover right now. Today is first fruits. Okay, so we had the beginning of Passover.
I'm having a cough attack, so I need to go take a break. I'll be right back.
So we had the beginning of Passover on Friday at sundown, and I learned that the name of the meal is called Seder. It's spelled Seder, and I watched some, services on Shabbat. I watched the Park Avenue Synagogue, and they pronounce it Seder. So I guess it's Seder, but that's like the actual meal. So that was on Friday. That was the day of like the biggest clash between police and Palestinians. Yesterday for Jews was Sabbath. Today is first fruits, which we celebrate today as Easter, which corresponds to first fruits. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to read an article from the Chabad just to kind of get a better perspective of how Jews view first fruits today and how they view it in Bible times. Okay. We got, Consider the Truth is here. Consider the Truth. He's one of my friends. I've done an interview with him. He has his own channel. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to check him out. He says, "Hi, Jared. You're killing it with these recent videos. Keep up the good work. I'm in West Jordan." Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We got MG from Murray, Utah. That's where I'm from.
We were both born there.
Yeah, both born there. I lived pretty much my whole life, most of my life in Murray, at least, until I was like in my early 20s. And I love Murray. I don't like what it is now. It's not the Murray from when I was growing up, because the Salt Lake Valley has become just so much more urbanized, and everything's, getting, if there's any space, they're cramming businesses and residential areas into every nook and cranny of the valley. So it's not the Murray from when I grew up, but I still do miss Murray. Welcome. Bob D from Meridian, Idaho. Bob D, I did get the email. I do think it's interesting, but I'll talk about it tomorrow. Teresa Washington, I grew up in California too, before moving to Provo, then to Arkansas. Wow, you're doing the whole spectrum from west to Midwest. We got Lottie Otley from Gilbert, Arizona. Very good. I think I've mentioned a number of times her cousin lives in Gilbert. And MJ says, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's start reading a little bit into first fruits, or Bikkurim. Okay. And actually, Jenica's going to read.
Yeah, that way I feel like I'm useful on the channel. I wanted to be here today, but not just sit and listen to him talk. So I'm going to read and he's going to comment, because I'm not very good at this stuff.
So this article, it has 3 sections. Okay. So the first section, maybe we'll take turns reading. The first section is Bikkurim in the Bible. And then after that, the second section is how the first fruits were selected and sacrificed. And then after that, Bikkurim today. Okay. So I'll have Jenica read the first section, then I'll do the second, and we'll...
Okay. And forgive me if I pronounce things very wrong. Okay. The text is familiar to anyone who has attended a traditional Passover Seder. A Syrian had nearly caused my father to perish, and he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few persons, and there became a nation, great, mighty, and numerous. Do you want me to read?
No, that's okay.
Okay. Where is this text from, and was it doing in Haggadah? These words are lifted from the verses that Jewish farmers would say every year when they brought Bikkurim, first fruits to the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. Here's the entire narrative on its original context in the book of Deuteronomy. It will be when you come into the land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance, and you possess it and settle in it, that you shall take of the first of all the fruit of the ground which you will bring from your land, which the Lord your God is giving you. You shall put them into a basket and go to the place which the Lord your God will choose to have his name dwell there. You shall come to Kohen, priest, who will be serving in those days, and say to him, I declare this day to the Lord your God that I have come to the land which the Lord swore to our forefathers to give us. The Kohen will take the basket from your hand, laying it before the altar of the Lord your God. And then you should call out and say before the Lord your God, and Aramean
I don't know,
sought to destroy my forefather, and he went down to Egypt and sojourned there with a small number of people, and there he became a great, mighty, and numerous nation. The Egyptian, sorry, I knew how to say that. I thought I read the sentence wrong.
Oh.
The Egyptians treated us cruelly and afflicted us, and they imposed hard labor upon us. So we cried out to the Lord, God of our fathers, and the Lord heard our voice and saw our affliction, our toil, and our oppression. The Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and with an outstretched arm, with great awe and with signs and wonders. And he brought us to this place, and he gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. So now, behold, I have brought the first of the fruit to the ground, which you, O Lord, have given to me. Then you shall lay it before the Lord your God, and prostrate yourself before the Lord your God. Then you shall rejoice with all the good that the Lord your God has granted you and your household, you, the Levite, and the stranger who is among you.
Okay. So if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to put it in the chat. So obviously we as Latter-day Saints, as well as just Christendom as a whole, recognize that the first fruits, just like all the Jewish feast days, they're a remembrance of a time past, but they were also pointing to the future and specifically to Christ. And so we know that first fruits was going to become what happened when Christ was resurrected, and he was the first fruits of the harvest, so to speak. So if like the entire world, the whole history of the world is a harvest, we're looking for those good souls, those that want to live a celestial law. He was the first one. He's the first fruits. So, okay, we got Teresa Washington. I get around if I keep going east. I'll be near Betty Horn. Yep. And then you might end up in Israel if you go even further than that. So that wouldn't be bad. Just not right now. Maybe wait till the millennium for that one. Okay, now we're moving into the section called How the First Fruits Were Selected and Sacrificed. So the mitzvah, which means commandment. So the commandment of Bikkurim, which is first fruits, began when a farmer in Israel and some of the surrounding areas would go out to his field and find budding fruit and tie a reed around them, verbally declaring them first fruits. So I guess maybe we would go to our garden and find the first fruits and say first fruits and tie a reed around it. This applied only to fruits of 7 species of the land of Israel. Oh, okay. So this applied to wheat, barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates. So here on our farm, we would only have figs as soon as the fig tree actually grows. We've been driving around, and there's already a lot of wheat that's been planted here, and it's going to be pretty incredible looking once it.
Dream last night that we had some grapes, and we're wondering where to plant them. I was asking you where we should put them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would love to have an olive tree. I like olives. I like green olives with pimiento. The first fruits were brought to the temple from Shavuot. Wait, what? The first fruits were brought to the temple from Shavuot, which the Torah calls the harvest festival, the first fruits of your work, until Hanukkah. Okay, so the first fruits, okay, they were brought to the temple from Pentecost until Hanukkah. Interesting. Okay, the Torah does not specify how much fruit was to be brought, but the rabbis said that one should bring at least 1/60th of the crop. The fruit was packed in containers. Wealthy people would use trays of gold and silver, and simple folk would use baskets of grass and reeds. When they would also carry turtle doves and pigeons in their hands. Similarly, they would hang turtle doves and pigeons from the sides of the baskets in order to adorn the first fruits. That's weird. Those that were with baskets would be offered as burnt offerings. Okay, now it makes sense. And those they would bring by hand would be given to the priests. How were the first fruits brought to Jerusalem? Villagers of each region would gather in a central town where they would sleep in the city's thoroughfare. They did not enter the town's homes lest they contract impurity by being under the same roof as a corpse. In the morning, the leader would call out, "Arise and let us ascend to Zion, to God our Lord." An ox with horns coated in gold would lead the procession. Coated in gold? There was enough gold to do that? Okay, so a crown of olive branches on its head, representing the 7 species from which the first fruits were taken. A flute was played before the procession until it approached Jerusalem. The entire way, the people proclaimed, "I rejoiced when it was told me, 'Let us go to the house of God.'" They would travel for only two-thirds of the day, allowing others along the way to notice them and join in the procession. When they were close to Jerusalem, emissaries were sent to notify the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and they adorned their first fruits and beautified them. If they had some produce, that was fresh and other produce that was dried, the fresh produce was placed on top. The leader of the Israelites and of the priests and the temple treasurers would go out from Jerusalem to greet them. When the procession had entered the gates of Jerusalem, the people began declaring, "Our feet were standing in your gates, O Jerusalem." All of the artisans in Jerusalem would stand and greet them. "Our brethren, the inhabitants of so and so, you have come in peace." They proceeded through Jerusalem, the sound of a flute accompanying them, until they reached the Temple Mount. There, even important personages, such as the king of Israel, placed baskets on their shoulders and proceeded until the temple courtyard, all the while singing Psalm 150. At that point, the Levite choir would sing, "I exalt you, God, for you have raised me up." Uh, which is kind of interesting because if you were to think about that prophetically, that you could possibly apply that to future resurrection, that we would all be raised up. I mean, I don't know, but that just kind of, that thought came to mind. There, the basket still on his shoulder, the farmer would make the first declaration: "I declare this day to the Lord your God." He then held the edges of the basket, and the priest held it from below and waved it up and down and in 4 directions before reciting the formula in in Aramean, "Sought to destroy my father, dot dot dot." He then placed the first forefather, dot dot dot. He then placed the first fruits near the southwest corner of the altar, bowed reverently, and departed. The first fruits were given to the priest, who were on duty at the time. They divided the produce among themselves to be eaten within the walls of the holy city of Jerusalem. The priest took the fruit and returned the expensive containers to the owners. In the case of a reed or grass basket, both the first fruits and the basket were given to the priest. After sleeping in Jerusalem overnight, the farmer was free to return home. So that sounds pretty arduous.
Yeah.
And I would probably want to live near Jerusalem. But anyway, Tim Washington says, "Are you able to show your screen when you're live streaming?" No, I would have to get like a different type of software, which I might look into. I know that there's one called, I want to say it's called OBS or something like that. I looked into it like a long time ago for some reason, but I'll see if I can do that. So
I get it next month or something. That'd be a really good idea.
Well, I don't know if you have to pay for it, how much it is, if it's a subscription. Sorry, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Anybody else, if you've joined midway, put down in the chat where you're from. And if anybody has any thoughts or anything that they've noticed, make sure to put that in the chat as well. The thing that I think is interesting, I don't know why, is just the fruits that are considered the fruits of first fruits. And I just want to read that list again, if I can find it.
Right there.
Okay.
Sorry to point at your screen.
That's okay. So the fruits, the 7 species. So in first fruits, there were 7 species that were considered first fruits: wheat, barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates. And we know that, like most of these, they have symbolism behind them. They've been used in parables. So I just find that kind of interesting. I don't know. I know that wheat and grapes and figs and olives have been used in parables. Can you guys think of any time that barley, pomegranates, or dates have been used in parables, or in any kind of symbolism in the scriptures or elsewhere? I feel like there might be a chance that they have been used somewhere else, but anyway, so 7 species for first fruits. Okay, now we're on the last section, and it's talking about how Bikkurim, or first fruits, how that's conducted today. Since there's not a temple for the Jews to do this, how do they do it today?
That's in Greek mythology. There's a pomegranate symbol, if that's pertinent at all. This is why I don't do the channel.
Not really.
Okay. In absence of the temple, the mitzvah of Bikkurim.
Remember, mitzvah means commandment, so the commandment of first fruits
no longer applies. However, there are numerous ways in which we carry on the spirit of the mitzvah. The text of I can't say this word. What is it?
Bikkurim
was selected to become a fundamental part of the Passover Haggadah and the Seder plate.
Do you want me just to read it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just read. So the text of Bikkurim, or first fruits, was selected to become the fundamental part of the Passover Haggadah and the Seder plate. Again, the Seder, that's the meal that they eat on Passover on Friday. Well, this year it was on Friday. Anyway, and the Seder plate is seen as a symbolic representation of the Bikkurim basket. Thus, the entire Seder experience becomes an annual reenactment of the Bikkurim ceremony. Why was this text chosen? It is a wonderfully succinct telling of our exodus from Egypt, an expression of our gratitude to God, just the right text to be expounded on during the Passover Seder. In addition, a primary theme of Bikkurim is that of thankfulness, appreciating the good we are given. In Hebrew, this is known as hakarat hatov, recognizing the good. The Bikkurim ceremony teaches us how important it is to verbally acknowledge God, our principal benefactor, as well as his many agents. The sages say that, quote, one who brings a gift to a Torah sage is considered to have brought Bikkurim. And indeed, it was the custom of Chassidim to bring such Bikkurim gifts to their rabbis, particularly around the holiday of Shavuot. Now, with Shavuot, again, that's Pentecost. It's also called the Feast of the Harvest, but to a lesser extent, from what I can tell, and the Feast of Weeks. So there's a countdown or a count up that actually starts today. It's called the Omer count, and it counts 50 days. That's why it's called Pentecost. So 50 days starting from today, we will reach Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks, or Pentecost. Okay. It says, even though we have no temple, God assured us through the prophets that when we study about the temple and its sacrifices, he considers it as if we have built the temple and brought sacrifices there. Thus, through study of the text in Deuteronomy, along with all the commentaries cited in the Haggadah, the Talmudic tractate of Bikkurim, and the further elucidations of Maimonides and others, we hope and pray that the merit of our Torah study be the final act to tip the scales and bring Moshiach. And then the farmers of Israel will once again bring Bikkurim, declaring, I will exalt you, God, for you have raised me up. And that's it. So I think it's really interesting. And I would really like to have witnessed this back in Old Testament times, just because I'm into that kind of stuff. I think it'd be really interesting. Now, I wouldn't want to have to do it because I'm not a big fan of walking, especially since the army and doing a bunch of ruck marches, and I have a bad back. But I would have liked to witness it. And I think it's really interesting. So we've talked about how in the last live stream, how Passover obviously was fulfilled by Christ and the sacrifice that he made. And essentially the Seder, okay, the feast that night, was turned into our modern day sacrament. So it's not something that we observe once a year. Since he fulfilled it and he implemented the sacrament during that Seder, it is now done every week in remembrance of his sacrifice. First fruits is commemorated when we celebrate Easter. And even though I'm not sure that it's necessarily a doctrinal thing in the church to celebrate Easter, we obviously recognize it just like how we recognize Christmas, even though we know that that's not, the day that Christ was born. We still observe his birth during. So we've basically joined Christendom in these holidays that have been established, right? And so I don't know that there's really anything that we celebrate today that would correspond with Pentecost, other than just when someone is baptized, they receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. And according to, the video that we did, reading the Bible dictionary and different sources, that's when the Holy Ghost came during Christ's time. It was after his resurrection. It came when in Acts chapter 2, when they were celebrating Shavuot, the Holy Ghost came. And from that point forward, they would do the laying on of hands and give the Holy Ghost. Let's see, we got some comments. We got
Crochet Mama was the first
one. Oh, there's been a bunch.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I didn't. Okay.
No, it just started pulling up suddenly. It wasn't.
Okay. Crochet Mama says 7. Interesting number. Yeah, that's always an interesting number. Always. Chris Wright says, Chris Wright, UK, 4 a.m.
Wow.
What are you doing right now? Are you getting ready for work? Okay. Thanks for joining. It's late here. It's 4:10, or it's 4:10. It's 10:08. I'm not sure. Well, I don't. So I'm self-employed, and the girls have like a 4-day weekend, so that's why I'm up late right now, because I can sleep in tomorrow. We all can, which is a beautiful thing. Pauline 5. Hello from downtown Chicago. What a beautiful full moon we had. Wow. Someone from Chicago. I don't know why, but it's like, I don't know about you guys, but like I never meet people from like big cities like San Francisco or New York, or it's like they're always all over the place in the news or in movies, but I like never meet people from those places. It was the same thing when I lived in Salt Lake. Like I knew people from all over the valley except for Salt Lake proper. So it's really cool that you are from Chicago. And Chicago, I used to work for Discover Card, and Discover Card is actually based in Chicago. Okay, wait, what? Alton Fentwin says, escaped Cali 2 years ago. Good for you. Loving Cache Valley, Utah. That's nice. I'm sure that California is nice. I know I there's a lot of things that I like about it. Obviously, there's bad things too, but I know it's a beautiful, beautiful place. That's where Troy is from the Last Dispensation channel. He's my friend, and he's in California. Kim Houghton, hi from Southern Utah. Hello. I miss Southern Utah. I love it. I love it there. I love the entire thing. I love it from east to west. I like that blending area where there's like Mexican Hat and there's Monument Valley. I like the Escalante Staircase, whatever. And I like the St. George area. Cecilia Hitch. It's been a while since I've been there, but if I remember correctly, there are pomegranates in some of the carvings in the Salt Lake Temple. I know pomegranates were to decorate ancient temples. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to see if I can find that. Okay, sorry. Microphone's in the way. Pomegranate Salt Lake Temple. I'm not seeing anything here, but I'm not saying that it's not. Oh, there's one from LDS Living. You know what? This one might be a little bit too hard to. I'm gonna have to look at that later. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm hoping that the Wichita Temple, it was announced this last conference. Once it's built, I'm hoping that they have a lot of like wheat and sunflower imagery in the temple. I really do. Tim Washington, I've had the same experience with big city people. Yeah, where are they? If they're big cities, where are these people? I don't know. Chelsea M, hi from Alberta. Okay, we got another Canadian. We had one last stream. Welcome. Denise Kyle, great idea. Light bulb. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do a little thing on first fruits, and I think it's interesting. We know that these days, these Jewish feast days, the Lord still, even though we don't observe them the same way that they did in Old Testament times, which is how the Jews still observe them, they still seem to be consequential in our own day. And I don't mean just because Christ fulfilled them, but because things have actually happened on these days that have to do specifically with our church. So, for example, we've talked about what seems to be the fulfillment of the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah. That's when Joseph Smith received the gold plates, and Rosh Hashanah is all about sounding the warning call. It's about trumpets. It's about getting ready for the Day of Atonement, which is Yom Kippur. But he received it on Rosh Hashanah of all days. And the several times before that, because he went on a yearly basis, there were 3 other times that it fell on one of the Jewish fall feast days. So that happened on Rosh Hashanah. The day that Elijah came to the Kirtland Temple, even though first fruits was fulfilled by Christ, uh, Elijah came on first fruits. So it seems that these are still recognized as appointed times. Things possibly can still happen in the future on these days. As far as the second coming goes, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened on a feast day. I don't know that it would, but other things associated with the second coming could happen on these feast days. So, for example, if I was somebody that if I believed in the 10 lost tribes in a certain area, or if I believed like the whole thing with like the 144,000, because I have different views, but if I was in that school of thought, then I would maybe look at these feast days as potential days that those things would occur. Adamondayamin, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened on a feast day. I wouldn't, especially Shavuot, which is coming up in 50 days. The reason why is because Pentecost, it is specifically tied to the wheat harvest. If you do a search right now, if you go on Google and you type in Shavuot, all you're going to see under images is like all these like images of wheat, right? And wheat and the wheat harvest is typically associated with parables and metaphor of this last harvest in our days before the second coming, right? It's also a festival that happens in late spring, early summer. And Christ said that we will know that the second coming is near because just like how summer is near, you look at the fig tree and it starts to have leaves and it stuff like that. So there's a lot of this like imagery that comes from Christ himself that seems to like match up with Pentecost. So I don't know that he would necessarily come on that day specifically, but maybe that would be like the start of that process. Maybe like the cleansing of the earth would start on that day or some other significant event. So that's why I look at these feast days, because they things could happen possibly. Pauline Fife says, lived here on the 24th floor of a condo building since 1990, raised 7 kids here downtown. I guess it takes all types. Wink. Wow. Yeah. The closest that we ever got to living in a downtown area was Salt Lake. Salt Lake's it's a big city, but it's like a small big city, right? You have like the different kind of classes of in fact, they categorize big cities. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, we lived in the Avenues, which is like this little neighborhood that's right off of downtown, and it feels like it, and the people that live there also feel like it, and it's an interesting place to live. But it was really fun because we were able to just walk down our street to the Salt Lake Temple.
That was really fun.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the Avenues, we lived on it was like how did it go? C Avenue in
that 320.
Well, yeah,
Remember that number?
Well, I don't want to say like the exact number,
Oh,
but
okay.
anyway, we
Okay.
lived on it was First Avenue, wasn't it? It was like First
remember.
Avenue in between C and D Street
Yeah.
by the old LDS Business College, which I can't remember what that got changed to, but
I have to say, 7 kids, good job. That's amazing. Way to go.
it's an amazing number too.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess that's pretty much it. Do you guys have anything else to say before we wrap this up? Is there anything that you would like me to do a video on? I've received a lot of emails, but I just want to kind of get an idea if there's like anything in particular that anyone's waiting on or would like me to see me do a video on. I'm going to be covering something that Bob D said, because he said, I saw this on a Facebook group, and I also heard Andrew Lamb say it, and then also Bob D, that the last talk of President Nelson, this last conference titled "The Time Is Now," he had a similar talk that was titled very similar 17 years ago. 17. And if you've been watching the channel, 17 just keeps coming up. President Nelson himself is the 17th prophet of the church. This last conference, he gave a talk that was 17 minutes and 17 seconds. So today is the 17th. Today is first fruits for this year. It's also Easter. Easter and first fruits don't always fall on the same day for some reason, but sometimes they do. And this year is one of those times. It's also a Shemitah year, which every 7 years is a sabbatical year. And then according to what I read on Israel 365, there's one rabbi that said that next year, the next Jewish year, would be a Jubilee year. We have Diana Tellman Fiber fan who says, "I'm so glad I found your channel." I'm glad you did too. I'm glad. I'm enjoying this. I love it. I would encourage everybody to make a YouTube channel because it makes it so that you go beyond what you would normally do yourself in your own personal study, right? Because like when you're a teacher or when you're putting on presentations like this, you're the one that learns the most. And it's already been a really incredible experience. Teresa Washington says, what? Wow. Tim Washington says, "Thanks for doing a late stream. Good to see you both. I wouldn't mind hearing your opinion on the Ezra's Eagle prophecy. If you've heard of it, not sure I buy it, but it's interesting." Yeah, I have heard of it. You guys, I watch all the same people that you do. Not so much nowadays because now my time is consumed doing my own channel. But I've watched, what's his face? Michael B. Rush. I've listened to Micah English. I've become kind of friends with Palmer. We've talked on the phone and we did that one interview. I've talked a lot with Troy Abels. We're basically friends. Brother Guerrero, so I've watched all the things that are out there. I'm aware of all the different, and then we have Consider the Truth that's here in the chat right now. Make sure to check out his channel. He is a really good guy. I like him. So as far as Ezra's Eagle goes, I don't know enough about it. Okay. I'm not of the same school of thought of like anything Michael B. Rush, which I'm not saying that he's a bad person. It's just like we're like worlds apart on how we see the last days unfolding. We're united when it comes to the gospel, obviously. We're of one heart, one mind. But like when we're thinking about these kind of extra things, we're worlds apart. But I do find the Ezra's Eagle thing interesting. I've watched his presentation on it, and I don't know what to think about it because I usually like to get my own hands on before I believe something. Is it critical that we understand that? No, but it's interesting and it could be true. I would just like to like read it for myself and then see. I'm not saying that he's done this. I haven't read it myself, but I would like to see if he has applied it correctly. Did he try and like squeeze things in to make it fit? Not saying that he would do that, but it's reasons like that I like to get my own hands on just to see for myself. So I may at some point do a video about that, but it might take me some time to kind of like research it. Stephen Hanley, Callie in the house. Don't hate me. I don't. I was just talking about how I like California. I've only been there one time. I was in Los Angeles, but I think it's fine. Denise Kyle, I found something else on YouTube. Okay.
She gets to it later.
Okay. I'll get to your comment once I get to it. Eileen Hunt, I've learned so much from you. Keep going. From Gilbert, Arizona. Oh, we got another Gilbert person. That's where my wife's cousin's from. I love Gilbert. It's a nice place. It's nice. Teresa Washington, I like to hear more videos that put out false last days beliefs. And, obviously you mean like from our point of view, because everyone has their own standards when it comes to stuff. I was actually going to do one. I've already done it, but it was like earlier in the channel. There's a really good Insight article called Missouri Myths. And it goes through different things like the yellow dog wagging his tail. They point out how that's a myth. They talk about the belief that all Latter-day Saints across the entire world will go to Jackson County before the second coming. It's really good. And I'm thinking of the video that I did, I went through all of them in that video, but I'm thinking of like just doing one myth at a time per video and making them a little bit more short. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, Denise Kyle. Whoops. I found a video on YouTube called Beit Lehi, House of Lehi, 18 miles out of Jerusalem. So interesting. Wow. I'll have to look into that. That's really cool. Fireball Tim, 1121. Hi from Longmont, Colorado. Oh, we have another Colorado person. Strange weather we're having. I'm glad I found your channel. I'm glad that you did too. Baptist background from Arkansas. Joined the church in 2019. I'm interested in the end time hidden servant. Thanks. Well, feel free to email me. I haven't really heard of that, but email me or whatever. Comment on another video. Give me some more details. I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to, but man, there's so much. I'm glad that you found the channel too. Yeah. Tim Washington, yeah, people may squeeze pieces into their own interpretation without doing it in a sinister manner. Yeah, because you have to take into account just people's different understanding, the methods they use. Everyone kind of does things differently. So, Kim Houghton, we celebrated Easter at my son's new home in St. George. It's a stone's throw from the temple. Nice. I have a question. On the original St. George temple, the words holiness to the Lord on the east side continue, but on this one, it's on the north side. I had heard it was always supposed to be on the east. Well, I don't think that when it comes to that, whether it's holiness to the Lord or the way that the angel Moroni points, I don't think it has to be, but that's just that's like the convention. So I don't know. Lisa Alvarez, hi from Dallas. Be sure to check out John Taylor YouTube channel. He has lots of videos on Ezra's eagle. Okay, cool. Chris Wright, did you check out Gospel Lessons video on apostasy in the church in the last days? I haven't seen all of his videos. I've seen a few of like the key ones. I think that he does a pretty good job. Again, we wouldn't agree totally on everything, but I think that he does a good job. I do. Like when he pointed out that the Revelation 12 sign appeared when Joseph Smith received the gold plates. That's telling, obviously. So not only did Joseph Smith receive the gold plates on Rosh Hashanah, but also the Revelation 12 sign was happening at the same time, which is incredible because here you have the Book of Mormon, which is the main tool of the harvest in this dispensation. And Rosh Hashanah is, again, it's the warning call. It's when they blow the shofar, the ram's horn, to get everybody into the right frame of mind to start thinking about the next 10 days, the days of awe. So you have that, okay, because we're all getting ready for Christ coming. And then we also have the Revelation 12 sign. And Revelation 12 is all about how the woman, symbolically, the church, and the man-child, the kingdom, she had her baby, but they had to flee. God had a place prepared for her in the wilderness. So the church was not able to stick around because there was rebellion. Satan was the driving force behind the rebellion that killed the apostles and, basically took over the church from that time forward. But then in the last days, it came forth, and the Revelation 12 sign happened when Joseph Smith received the gold plates. It's perfect. And that's why in Doctrine and Covenants, you always hear about the church coming out of the wilderness, coming out of obscurity. It's a throwback. It's a callback to Revelation 12. And you can see that in the footnotes when you read. Eileen Hunt, I've been to Lehigh. I keep on to say Lehi. And that's because Spanish has ruined my pronunciation of things forever. I've been to Beit Lehi, an active archaeological dig. Some members believe it is the place where Lehi and family lived. Interesting. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Goblin 2004. If you go to Google Maps for the Red Cliffs, Utah Temple, you can look at the pictures that I've taken. Okay, cool. Mrs. Chef Yoda, good evening and happy Easter / Passover weekend. Happy Easter to you too. And again, today is first fruits, although I guess that's over now because pretty much anywhere that you're at, I'm sure the sun is already down. So first fruits was yesterday. Dana Stenserson says hi from San Clemente, California. We have a lot of Californians today. Really cool. Wasn't there was a temple that was announced in California, wasn't there? I think it was like this, was it the Santa Monica temple or Modesto? I can't remember. I want to say that there was an M. If anyone knows, put that in the chat. So anyway, yeah, that'll be it for Modesto. Eileen Hunt says Modesto. All right, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you, everybody, for showing up. I didn't know how this was going to go because, it's Sunday night, and I assume everyone wants to go to bed and get ready for work. Some people are waking up right now, like if you're in England.
Waking up at 4
a.m.
Did he ever comment why he was awake at 4?
If you're still here, will you tell me why you're awake so early? Did I wake you up with my notification? I hope not. Yeah, so we'll do more live streams in the future. I'll make sure to do them on every Jewish feast day just because I don't know, this is kind of a fun tradition at this point on the channel. I'll do it on general conference days, and I'll just do it randomly as well. Again, today starts the 50-day count. So 50 days from today, we're going to have Shavuot. And then, what?
I'll pop in randomly too and probably have nothing to say, but I enjoy being with you guys. It's really fun.
Yeah. She'll have more to say when we do like our homestead videos. We got that first row of hay down if you saw my last homestead video. So we're going to start planting and it'll be fun. Teresa Washington, so grateful for you both. Glad your sweet wife got to be here on this. Take care, friends.
Thank you.
Lisa Alvarez, thanks for doing live chat. Hope you do lots more. Yeah, I will. One last thing. If you didn't see my last video, that like prophecy, that calculation that Amir Sephardi was talking about, it turns out that's true. That's actually true. Now, when I watched his video, he said that it came out of Iran, that there was a cleric in Iran that had made calculations based on the Quran that Israel is going to cease to be a country, a state, by July 8th. Well, in Haaretz, which is an Israeli media news outlet, similar to like the Washington Post or something like that, they confirmed it. They said that 73% of Palestinians actually believe that, and in their version, it's actually by June. So let's keep an eye on Israel this next week. Watch my last video. It talks about all the different updates. It's pretty tense. Things could go crazy really fast. So just keep your head on a swivel. Let's see. Chris Wright. Okay. He's our UK. Yeah, okay. I'm retired and just don't sleep well. Thanks for your time and effort. Okay. Well, hopefully that'll get better for you.
No, not being able to sleep well is really a terrible thing.
Yeah. when I was in the army, oh my gosh, when I was in the army, I every like on average, I only got like about 6 hours of sleep, and it's just because bad habits on my part. But for like we'd stay
Oh,
up stay
yeah.
up late, watch shows, because I would need that like therapy at night, like watch something funny, you know. And then it sucked because the morning version of myself always paid, and there was no such thing as not going to work.
Yeah.
No such thing as not going to PT in the morning at 6:30 and doing forced exercise. So I despise not getting enough sleep. So I'm sorry. Goblin 2004. It'll be interesting to think of what is happening there in Israel. Yeah, let's just watch. As soon as I see big things happen, I'll make sure to do videos. Um, in case you don't hear it from some other source. All right, everybody. Happy Easter. Have a good rest of your night. Hopefully, everyone get some good sleep. Chris Wright, please try and get a nap if you can. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.